Anyways, originally, Tikal was to be freed from hypersleep, and probably revealed as now fairly old. Well, of course, she's from ancient times. Something closer to her game counterpart was used in SCC Online. I guess that's good, because it feels more like a natural continuation of adventure. Like, that's how Tikal would be brought back. That's how Tikal would have become a regular character in the games if they had not randomly decided to just have her ascend to heaven. And instead, she was trapped with Chaos. But I don't think they needed to have her lose her memory because she went insane. Just have Knuckles learn about his people already. It's not a big deal. The comic ended before he got to learn about them, and was there really much to learn? They were tribesmen people. Sonic could have told him that. What hidden secrets could Tikal possibly have had to tell him? But yeah, like, her closer to her game counterpart. Like, that just seems lazy. Like, they copped out of originality. Like, maybe she was put in cryosleep because she had a disease and they wanted to wait until they had a cure. Although with the advanced Echidna technology, it's kind of hard to believe that there would be any disease they could have been able to cure back then. But who knows, maybe that's how it was. Maybe she just really wanted to see the future. But again, with the technology being so ancient that there were Echidna robots back then, I'm not sure what she could have thought there was to look forward to after that. Sonic was at one point in the original comic to encounter an aquatic race, according to Richard Elson, which came true in SCC Online. Like, well, it doesn't say here that the aquatic race was the Dracons, so I guess SCC Online did it better because it wouldn't have been an aquatic race out of complete nowhere. It would have actually been the Dracons, except these were good ones who settled there a long time ago. Originally, one of the Spice Maidens was going to die and be replaced by a member named Vanilla, and the sequel story would have opened at the funeral of the deceased member. Okay, it seems in poor taste to kill one of the Spice Maidens off the very next time we see them, when we didn't even get the chance to get attached to any of them, feel like they have genuine distinct personalities. Like, and already they're killing one of them off. Which one would it have been? Would it at least have been the least likable one? I need to ignore the stupid instinct that, oh, that would have been too dark for the Sonic franchise. Bullshit. It just that, I don't know. I don't like the idea of it. Why would they have accepted some random new person named Vanilla into their group? Like, the Spice Maidens are all sisters. Richard Elson created conceptual artwork for two mysterious new enemies of Sonic based around scientific principles, the Quark and Miasma. Quark's weapon was known as the Strange Attractor and resembled a staff with a rotating end. Miss Miaz was able to continuously rotate at high speed to suck in victims, while her head stayed in place. In particular, Dr. Quark resembles a Dracon. I wish they used that concept. That sounds pretty interesting. Don't know why they bothered to write the word mysterious there, because aren't all the villains kind of mysterious? Though, Fleetway was impressively consistent with explaining why minor villains were evil, even if their motives kind of were silly. I really wish that this was the boss of this level. Like, I thought it was, but instead it just keeps going on. I mean, I thought it was fun chasing the guy around and jumping on his head, and there's a challenge where you have to make sure that you don't get too slowed down by all the walls in your way, and remember to jump so that you land on him and actually attack him. Like, that would have made for a perfectly fine boss, especially since that was the final boss of Labyrinth Zone. Basically, like, you chased him around and jumped into him. Although there, it didn't matter that you were jumping into him. While here, it lowers a health bar. But instead, he has 2 health bars. Well, why give... Yeah, but you have to defeat the boss before this to open the way forwards to here. Why would you have 2 bosses in one act? Well, if there's one thing I can really compliment, aside from the fact that they give you a whole bunch of bubbles, so that it doesn't really matter that you're underwater. Thank you for having text telling you that you have to bounce it back. Now, if only they actually bothered to have text explaining to you how to defeat the boss, where you had to make sure that the flame that was constantly shooting out would hit him. Because I didn't know that at first. Like, they could have told you that, and like that required an explanation much more than this, where you're going to naturally jump into it and realize you could bounce it anyways when you were trying to jump into the rings. And the boss, like before the one that you were chasing, was a ripoff of a Sonic 1 8-bit boss in Labyrinth Zone. Where, like at least you didn't have to wait too long for the opportunity to attack. You still had to wait, but at least, like, there was a very consistent pattern with where he would show up. He would go one way, then he would go the other, and then he would be in the center. So that was a good boss, if slow-paced. And coincidentally, Dr. Quark shares his name with a one-off Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog villain. That show was one-off villains? No. That sounds interesting. Well, obviously at the time of this recording, I haven't watched Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog yet. It just feels to me like it's going to be like a really safe show because it's the comedy old Sonic cartoon, so I'm impressed they actually have villains other than Eggman in that show. Good. They're probably going to be extremely rare though. And finally, an unmade Knuckles storyline that was ultimately released through Tumblr. It was originally going to be a two-parter before it was condensed into one due to the second half not being finished before being dropped entirely. Knuckles has forgotten much of how to control the floating island. How? Did he trip and hit his head? And so he has to relearn via an elaborate training simulation. Wait, so did he have to do that the first time he was reborn? I mean, like, before the comic started. Like, not literally the first time, but the Knuckles as we know him. This was dropped due to a Knuckles curse backstage that took down two other stories. Ultra Chaotix in 2003 and The Two Guardians. Okay, that wasn't very interesting to read about. What was that even about? Like why would he have to learn again how to control the floating island? I love this level, by the way, because of course it's Starlight Zone, so lots of speed sections. But there's still like a bottomless pit, so there's still challenging platforming as well. And I love the music too. Anyways, the Wandering Sentinel was planned as an echidna whose soul was trapped in a Sentinel robot body. As a nice change of pace, this supposed villain would feel like he's doing the right thing, despite opposition from the people of Mobius. The Sentinel was originally an echidna who grew tired of his warlike people during the Great War. The echidna betrayed his own kind, hoping that the Dracon Empire would bring an end to the suffering. However, he soon found out that the Dracons' true personalities were evil, but was unable to escape. He was really naive to assume that the Dracons were good guys just because the echidnas were fighting them. Or maybe just really cynical of his own people. Or maybe both. The Dracons made sure he couldn't escape by trapping his soul in a robot sentinel. I mean, we did see magical Dracons, like Hagra, so I guess that makes sense. That was the magic to do it. Why couldn't they just kill him? I guess they thought that would be as evil? This stopped the echidna from returning to his people, realizing that they would only see him as a treacherous robot. Instead, the Sentinel stole a ship full of other Sentinels and left, knowing that as long as other Sentinels existed, his soul could flit in and out of them. So other Sentinels would have to exist for him. So I guess he really liked being immortal then? I guess he could only reincarnate as a Sentinel. What's the point? Like, it doesn't seem like he would have a very fun life. No loved ones to look forward to, no job, no hobby. Why would he make sure that he has other Sentinels? Over the years, the Wandering Sentinel frequently protected Knuckles. He hopes that he can convince Knuckles of his true nature, and that the spell that put him here will be made redundant. Until then, he continues to face persecution from the likes of Sonic. I guess because they're all judging him based on the way he looks, and they think that his story is too unlikely to be believed. That's just frustrating. I mean, like, Knuckles would finally see another echidna aside from Tikal, or Zachary. Or like, no, I think he was just inhabited by Vichima. He would finally see another echidna, but oh, like, he hates him because of the way he looks. I guess that's why they scrapped him, and not just the fact that he was an original comic book villain, and God forbid we have another echidna. I guess he was protecting him to be a good guy, and to convince him of his true nature. Was that all he was doing? How did Knuckles never notice him before? Out of all the times, from all the times he was alone on Angel Island. He would have been more useful fighting Eggman, but I guess you didn't know about him because he was on Angel Island the whole time. But I guess that's also why they scrapped him, because it would be a stupid retcon, because how did Knuckles never notice this Sentinel following him around?